our next company is looking at this change, and it says the hidden change, how the rules of the game are rewritten in CNC contract manufacturing. They will tell us all about it and what kind of opportunities come out of it. And I'm very pleased that we have one of the founders here. I think Kiran Sivalingam is here with us, CEO and co-founder of Refactum GmbH from Kaiserslautern. Let's give him a big hand, and please think about it via Slido. You can ask your questions, but now the stage is yours. Thank you. Just imagine you are in a production site just like 20 years ago. Machines are up and running, business is running well. The supervisor runs along and has a clipboard and gives out the tasks. And everyone knows when Mr. Meyer is at the milling machine, everything runs smoothly. But our world, of course, is changing. Back then, that was enough. It was enough to be successful. But globalization and automation and digitalization has changed our world. And the rules of the game have changed. Rules of the game not with big news and headlines, but hidden and rather silently. My name is Kiran Sivalingam, and I want to ask you to get to know about the rules of the game. For years, I've been accompanying contract manufacturers in automation and digitalization processes, and I've seen quite a lot of examples where with pretty simple rules, we were able to create a lot of added value. And this is exactly what I want to present. It's not a product presentation. I'm not going to present software. I'm going to present 10 rules that you can start using as of tomorrow. Let's start with our main actor. It's a simple adapter, 42 chromo 4. You all know it. Couple of bores. We have an inside and an outside contour. One thread. It's nothing exotic. It's day-to-day business. The starting situation for this part is this: in our contract manufacturing, the throughput time is 4.8 days. The machining time per part is 38 minutes. With the various parts, we had to calculate with 5% rework, and the contribution margin was at 9%. Now, with our main actor, we'll go through 3 acts: the basis, the scarcity, and the market, or bottleneck and the market, and see how this part is changing. And which kind of rule has an effect on this part? Let's start with the first act. The basis has shifted. So, in former times, using a CNC machine, you could directly produce a part, machine it. Fitting, programming, everything was done by one person. That was quite enough. But now, this no longer works. The question is no longer who has the best machine, but who can use the machine the best way. And this brings us to the first rule. Automation at the machine is not just nice to have. It's standard. It's basic prerequisite to participate successfully in the market. With one of my customers, for example, we went there to their shop, and from 4 o'clock the hall was silent. No one was there for fitting. No one was there to move out scrap. No one was there to set the machine, because everyone was at home. With another competitor, from 4 p.m. onwards, the machine was still going. It was still operating. The same machine, same game, but different rule. Same part, double output, half the unit price. We were able to fix the problem quite simply. We're at EMO here today, and I'm sure we'll have one or the other offer of a cobot here. And sometimes you don't need to equip your entire machines with a cobot. You can start with a key machine where most of the parts are produced, or with that machine that produces the best or most of the added value. And then you can work step by step. What does it mean? Well, through automated fitting, what you can do is the throughput time of a task is reduced on average for about 30%. For our workpiece, this means that from 4.8 days we go down to 3.5 days. And today, you can take a look around and decide to go for one or the other machine. Machine is running, it's automated. Well, now the information needs to flow. So let's come to rule number 2. Digital processes instead of paper. In our current customers' position, we were there, and we were there locally and digitalized fitting plans. We had 2 rather good operators on the machine. They had created their own system, and the one guy said, well, there were 5 huge folders at the desk with manually filled fitting plans. The company had the same machine twice, various people, and the second machine there were different people who filled out the slips of paper differently. And Marcus then said, well, we have 2025, why do we do the documentation still on paper? Previous speaker, Mr. Kluge, has also presented a system with which digital process plans can be provided, with which you can digitize lots of plans. And that's a question which we should ask ourselves. Why should we still document on paper in 2025? Paper has no API. Paper cannot be searched through easily. Paper doesn't give you warnings. Digital systems do. So what we have done is we've standardized the system and we made digital fitting plans available so that the people, even after shift change, were able to understand what was happening and what kind of hints the previous operator left me. What we created through this was reducing rework, because we were able to give out warnings before things might have happened in the second shift. Pretty simple, with a pretty simple tool that simply has digital fitting plans available. Errors thus are moved to the front and don't come after production, where it's rather costly. So once we have fitting plans digitalized, let's come to the next rule: create transparency, because information creates transparency, and transparency is not a reportable item. Transparency is a basic prerequisite because it provides for better margin. In particular, in creating quotations in contract manufacturing, you need transparency for precise calculations. Customers nowadays expect precise quotations and, of course, good prices. That's self-evident. And you need precise calculation in order not to pay additional money for it. The more precise you calculate, the better your offer will be. And that's the third rule. Create a calculation tool, not a self-built Excel sheet that gives you a rule of thumb number that is 20% above the general market price, or no contract that will give you minus benefits because you calculated not well enough. That happens very often. Market, of course, won't forgive you. That's something which is important. 3 rules. That was the first act. Let's take a look at our main actor. What happened? Well, because of the introduction of automation at the machine, through the cobot, through digitalized processes, and an improved calculation, throughput time was moved from 4.8 days to 3.3 days. The contribution margin through calculation was moved from 99% to an average of 16%. These are all of a sudden rather good numbers. So basis has been created. Now let's come to the second act. The bottleneck. The bottleneck is not the machine. It's the person. That's rule number 4. Skilled operators are the bottleneck. It's again the scarcity of skilled workers. Well, it's there and companies notice it. But do we find skilled workers quickly? That would be the best thing. But a good programmer or a good expert for cutting with a digital background, to find such a person, that's difficult. And to keep the people on board is even more difficult. Therefore, use what you have, because you do have staff, you do have good staff. You simply have to go the way of training them further. That's the best and fastest possibility you can use. Yes, you do need new skilled people, but you can't get them as of tomorrow. So that's why you need to train your people. That was a good point Mr. Kluge mentioned. The know-how transfer from an older worker who has a lot of experience, that is something that the knowledge of that older worker can be transferred transferred to the younger workers. Older workers might not want to do that. He said, well, I haven't heard that before, but with a new system, it might be a good idea to enable younger people. Start small, one monthly workshop, for example. In the companies where I was in, I noticed that people don't really pay attention to giving further training to them. One monthly meeting, 2 to 4 hours, handing down knowledge to people means errors can be avoided and production runs much more smoothly. Once we have enabled our staff to become better, everyone will then go out and try to get the best out of their machines. 1 minute here, another minute there. But with one of our customers, what happened was that delivery times were still okay. There were some delays, and we still had some delays. Everyone improved something in their machines, in work preparation. A couple of minutes were squeezed out, but it did not contribute to a major improvement. Why so? Well, because the bottleneck stayed the same. It's no use to improve things here or there when you have one specific bottleneck. It's important to identify this particular bottleneck. Find out what machine constitutes the bottleneck. With a customer who saws machine, milling, turning, surface coating, does that, has a wonderfully prepared shop floor for all of that. And at the Turning and Milling Center, we introduced a digital fitting plant. Still, it wasn't working quickly enough because the material warehouse simply couldn't follow suit with the material. What have we done? So apparently we looked at it and saw the bottleneck is the material storage. So we have a buffer. We created a buffer just for the Milling and Turning Center so that this particular center was always able to work till the material was restocked. In a second step, you should take a look at how this kind of bottleneck could be improved. So you find out where you have the problem. Is it too few staff, not properly trained, or do you not have sufficient types of software that can improve the system? That way, we were able to remedy that bottleneck. Now let's come to the possibly biggest bottleneck we have, a good programmer. How many contract manufacturers do we have in the audience? And who of you has a good programmer? Possibly, we have one in our team who has excellent programming knowledge. We have 3 or 4. They are okay. A good programmer can take a part that takes 30 minutes, can optimize it in one afternoon, then it only takes 25 minutes to machine. But those are the very rare people, and not all of them have them, or they are only around very rarely. We do have one of these people, but the know-how of this good programmer, we can share it in the team, maybe in a workshop, as I addressed it under rule number 4. The good programmers could come together in a team with the younger programmers or with the one that still needs some further training and take a look at CNC programs and find out how they can create good methods and create templates that can be handed over to other team members, how they can standardize templates so that you can always draw from them. Now we have very good digital tools that you can see at EMO, in particular on the startup area, the CAM assistance tools that can extract standards from many CNC tool machines and can make them available to staff. Take a look at these tools and try to step up the level of your programming. So it's 3 simple rules that we can abide by, which lead to big added value in the company or in production. The parts can be produced faster and better. Let's take a look what these 3 rules that I just presented mean for us. Oh, sorry, I forgot one rule here. Is, yes, fitting times. Analyze and reduce fitting times or setup times. We have the new rule, CAM automated, CAM standardized. Now we go to the setup times. That's a big lever that we can work on. Setting up a machine, when you ask a contract manufacturer manufacture. How long does it take? Well, it depends. Sometimes 2 hours, sometimes 8 hours, sometimes 2 days. Very often what happens is, with setting up a machine, the errors or the non-availability of certain things come in or are striking. Tools are missing, material is missing, maybe the staff person needs more time today to set it all up. That might happen, but we need to identify such errors. How many contract manufacturers take times, maybe shoot a video of 2 or 3 setting up operations and analyze them? I suppose only very few will do that. Well, that's a very simple tool to find out where the bottleneck is and how much you can get out of it. How can you improve the work of that particular operator? For our workpiece at our pilot customer side, we were able to again reduce throughput time because our setup was happening faster. Now we can take a look at what happens to our main actor after we use these 4 rules. So throughput time was moved back again from 3.3 days to 2.7 days. Faster setting up, faster programming. Information is flowing, workpiece is flowing through. Through enabling our operators to program it well, we were able to reduce machining time again. Through upskilling, we achieve the situation that we don't have that much rework because errors move to the front where they don't cost a lot. And at the end, we need less rework and the employees can focus on the most essential tasks. And we were again able to improve our contribution margin by a further 3%. 4 simple steps, 4 simple rules. Everyone can do that. You can do that tomorrow in your production. Now, so we created the basis, we have reduced bottlenecks, and now we want to win on the market. Let's take a look at the third act. I said before, transparency creates margin, and customers expect precise quotations. However, customers should focus qualification instead of calculating. Not each and every quotation is of same significance for contract manufacturers. There are too many mom-and-pop shops producing everything and having no specialization. Let's take a look at your 20 best contracts over the last 20 years and analyze what was it. Was it milling turning parts with special features, micro-precision to turning parts, or were it welding frames where just a couple of bores needed to be applied and they brought the biggest margin to you? Specialize and focus on those parts and try to create a premium package out of it and then bring it to customers' attention. The simple parts with lower contribution margin, of course you can still accept them, but try to move them out in automation as best as possible. Do them during the night shift where they can't create as much downtime. The complex parts where you are specialized in, you can use to have a better premium offer. This helps to focus on the essential things. Staff can actually develop in a specific area. It's good fun to do these parts, and this helps us to have a better position on the market. With today, standard parts, they're getting fewer and fewer. They will be produced somewhere else. The special parts that require special expertise and know-how, that's where you have to have a good position and decide which kind of expert area you want to go with. So take a look at that, check your 20 or 30 parts that you had last year that were your best runners and find out what was the common ground. So once we have positioned ourselves, we can now write quotations faster. Just imagine 15 years ago, there was no online shopping. And then retailers in the last 10 years asked themselves, well, why is no one coming to our shops any longer? When I, as a customer, when I come to a shop and I see that the shop is open from 9 to 6 and I can go in and then ask for a price, I think twice whether I would actually like to go there. When I sit in front of my computer, I go online shopping, I see the price immediately and I just tick a box and then I have workshopped. Is the product worse? No. The service is much better. It's faster, it's more transparent, and it's more comfortable for customers. And the same is happening in the CNC industry as well. Customers expect speed. Those who want to survive in the market need to be fast, because speed creates trust. Now, some CNC contract manufacturers offer to write a quotation in 24 hours, and the purchasing agent says, well, then I get immediate information. They are working fast, and that's their service. So speed creates trust, and in particular with the new tools, with digital tools, you can actually keep to this timeline. Just because you offer a service to write a quotation within 24 hours, you won't win all of the contracts for different reasons. But service is something that needs to be there. Let's come to the last rule of the game. Even if we don't get all the contracts, we should always ask, why didn't we get the offer? Was the price not okay? Was the delivery time too long? There will always be some customers who reject your offer for some reason. Some will simply tick the box in the Excel file, contract was not awarded, that's it, finished. You don't ask again what was the reason, and you're not learning from it, because each lost job is an opportunity to learn to make it better the next time. And this is my last rule of the game. One appeal, learn from the jobs that were rejected, what to do better next time. It's 10 rules, 3 acts. So let's take a look what happened to our main actor. So we had initially 4.8 days of throughput time. We went down to 2.7 days because of the very many simple steps. Machining time was reduced by 8 times, rework reduced by 3%, and the contribution margin was improved by 13%. So pretty simple rules. Everyone can start implementing them as of tomorrow. And today at EMO you can get inspiration for that. There are many cobots, there are many offers in the startup area. You will find lots of new software technologies that you can take a look at. Take a look as to whether you would like to start a pilot project with a startup company that brings added value to you. And that's my appeal to you. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have seen the market is changing, rules of the game are changing, but that's an opportunity, and you have to see it as such an opportunity. I would like to show you 3 pictures which I would like to have rooted in your heads, and I would like them to serve as inspiration for you. Just imagine, after 4 o'clock, you come to your production hall, and you hear a little noise, a robot is moving, the parts are automatically moved in, there is no person to be seen. One person is in the back office and sees to it that the night shift will work smoothly. You are happy, and with a smiling face you go home. That's a nice idea, isn't it? And not only you will have a smile on your face, but also your staff, because the person is no longer under so much stress. They don't have to browse through 5 folders trying to start the machine. There is a clear plan for them. They have a clear checklist, a completely digitalized checklist. It's not the machine that improves production, it's the people, the humans that improve it. And they will be happy going home, because there's nothing better than happy workers, happy operators who love to be at their machines. And it's not only the operators that are happy. You are equipped so well that your offers cannot be rejected, because they are so good, so well calculated. You have communicated clearly and precisely, so this will be a picture of the past. Now, the 10 rules, you have looked at them now. From the 6th of October, you can download them from our website as a little booklet with some ideas that you can implement in your company in the future. And I'd like to appeal to you, don't start at this simultaneously with all of the 10 rules. Search for the biggest bottleneck. We can also have a small workshop on it. Think about where in your production is the biggest bottleneck. What's the current bottleneck that hurts you the most? Once you identify this bottleneck, think about who can create such a project around it, who would be the person responsible, what's the goal that you want to achieve, and then think about a solution as to how you want to reduce the bottleneck. You will find inspiration on all of this today, and I would like to end by asking a question. So which of these 10 rules you will implement tomorrow? Thank you very much for your attention. So let's give him a big hand. Let me start with my personal feedback. It was a great speech. I have to say you were full of energy, and what I liked most, we went on quite a journey with the topics that are so important, very well structured with the 10 rules of the game. So let me ask you a question directly coming after your question. Which of the 10 rules of the game you believe is the most important one, if we can say that? Well, upskilling of staff. Everyone's complaining about shortage of skilled workers, and new skilled workers won't appear as of tomorrow and say, look, I'm here. Skilled people, well, we have to improve their training in our company because we know our major concerns and we know where our problems are. And when I look at contract manufacturing as the ones that I'm accompanying with, in staff training, not a lot is done about it. So the rule would be come together with people regularly because continuity creates the way to achieve targets. Now, you are very strong included in creating quotations with your offers. That's, if I understood correctly, what your offer is. Now, I start to work with your systems and I get my first feedback, and in an ideal case, I'm an old sales guy. Of course, I love the rule of the game. Please ask people why the quotation wasn't successful. So how does that work with your tool that I learned from it, and the next quotation is going to be better? It doesn't always need to be the price that was a problem. There can be various reasons. So how do you handle that? Yes, in our tool, what we do is we try to suggest as precise an offer as possible, a quotation, because we know exactly how quotation works. We developed an algorithm that right down to the tool path can almost automatically simulate how long the machining time is, and can also suggest a setup time so that we have a very precise quotation. We won't get feedback from a customer of our customer. We try to make the quotation as precise and transparent as possible and show the setup of the price. And from that, our customer can set up their final offer or quotation for their customer. And feedback, as regards feedback, you shouldn't simply disregard the lost jobs. That's a difficult thing in sales. I noticed that. You should ask why. It's not very often that the price was the problem. Delivery date might not be fitting. You need a quotation because you need a quotation for internal processes, or something else was not fitting. And it's that part of information that you need as a sales guy to be better next time. Oh, that's interesting. Now I received the feedback. Say, customer told me, well, the solution that you presented, I didn't like that. So, but next time I want to receive the job. So now I get the feedback to the customer. How do I feed it into the system that it's included next time? Well, you can't directly feed it into the system, but in the system you can have suggestions generated. Say, the surface, the way you treat the surface, that's too costly for me. You can try out various production processes to come to the same surface quality and then see whether the price is getting lower, for example. That's how you can address it in the system, how you can use the system. Thank you so much, Karen. Let's give him a round of applause. We see you in the startup area. Have a lot of success, and I think the people here as well. Thank you, Karen. Let's give him a round of applause. Thank you.